This video is sponsored by Win-Win Technology, your ultimate flight sim hardware solution, featuring the Orion hull test, current and future configurations.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. It's July 2021 and version 1.5 of the community JAS-39 Gripen is out. With it comes some new weapons. We're going to first look at air-to-ground. This is the roadmap for the air-to-ground weapons on the Gripen mod. The things that have a status of 2 and have a green dash by them are things that we have now. M70 rockets, 2 variants of the AGM-65 Maverick, the Brimstone ALCM, 4 types of unguided bomb, 8 types of guided bomb, the Lightning Pod 3 Gulf variant, RBS-15 anti-shipping missile, Mara 1 anti-radiation missile, and 1 of the air-launched cruise missiles, the Stormshadow. You guys, the valued viewers, have asked us if we could do a quick guide/tutorial showing how to use these different types of air-to-ground weapons. Let's start with unguided rockets and unguided bombs. So, rearmament menu. Pylons 2 and 7, we can have an asymmetric loadout, but we're going for symmetric. Rockets. M70 Bravo variant, either armor piercing or high explosive. Bombs. 4 times M71 120 kilo low drag bombs, or a single Mark 82 500 pound low drag, or a Mark 83 1000 pound low drag, or a Bru 33 adapter with 2 Mark 82s on. 3 and 6. The rockets are the same, the bombs are the same with the addition of the Mark 84 2000 pound low drag bomb. Finally, Station 7. Bombs, as before, and no rockets. We're going to go with 2 pods of 6 AP rockets, 4 Mark 82s, 1 Mark 84. I've got a T-pod on, but you don't need it. In terms of controls, 7 to enter air-to-ground mode once we're airborne, weapon change to cycle through weapons, weapon fire, either a single press or press and hold depending how we're going to use the weapons. Note we do also have ripple interval increase and decrease and ripple quantity select and salvo mode. As far as we can see, these commands aren't working in the Gripen at the moment. It's going to take off. Okay, ground targets on the nose, 7 for air-to-ground mode. We can cycle through our weapons, we can see our weapons on the bottom right of the HUD there. We've got armor-piercing M70s, bombs on the outer pylons as you can see, those are the Mark 82s, and a bomb on the inner pylon. We're going for the Mark 70 rockets. If we push the weapon fire button just once, 4 rockets will come out. If we push and hold, all the rockets will come out. You can see that we have a DLZ, Dynamic Launch Zone, on the left of the screen there, showing the range of where that piece of ground is, where our reticle is there. Range scale is dynamic, currently up to 5 kilometers, showing the range is 3 kilometers where that needle is there. This is our minimum, the minimum distance that we can launch at. And if I were to pitch up a bit, you can see the scale has scaled out, and that is the maximum we can launch at. We can fire at any time between RMIN and RMAX. Simple as that. I'm going to send all rockets in one go. So I'm going to push and hold, and we're going to get lots of boom boom. Off target. Lovely. As you can see, it's automatically selected my bombs, the Mark 82s. We can tell because of the stations selected here. To drop these, we can use 2 methods, CCIP or CCRP. We're going to use CCIP for these Mark 82s. So we're going to move at least 3 miles away from the target and up to at least 6,000 feet AGL. Bearing in mind, this is meters up here, but you can convert it, just times it by 3, you can convert it. Okay, turning in. We're going to dive at the target at a dive pitch of at least 20 degrees. There's no real limit to how steep. You can go pretty much straight down, but I wouldn't suggest directly down. It becomes difficult. Speed-wise, generally speaking, the faster you go, the safer you are from ground fire, but, you know, keep it within reason. We're going to travel so that our crosshair, which is here, where our aircraft is pointing, is slightly above the target, which is there, and our reticle is slightly below the target. So let's do that now. Got a dynamic range scale again, as you can see. So position our crosshair about there. We're going to wait until our CCIP symbology appears, which it will do when we are within parameters.
Launch.
There, we now have our CCRP BFL bomb full line shown here, and our CCIP reticle or pipper at the bottom there. All we do is carry on our current trajectory until the pipper here rises to the target. Press and hold weapon fire, the 4 bombs will drop. Note we are currently diving at 20 degrees. Is just about acceptable.
Authorized.
Oops, that was my fault.
Launch authorized.
Drop.
Overgy.
Boom. Next, we're going to go for the Mark 84. As you can see, it's automatically selected it. This time, we're going to use relatively low-level CCRP. I say relatively low level because there are limits to these bombs based on the warhead size. There is a minimum altitude of 100 meters AGL if you're using the Mark 82 and 300 meters AGL if you're using the Mark 84 2,000 pound. And note, you can get around this limit by pressing launch permission override to allow you to drop at any altitude, which is probably what I'm going to do to show that you can do it. So head away from the target at least 3 miles away. With CCRP, we do not need to dive on the target, although I guess we can if we want. Turning in on target, we're going to use our CCRP reticle, which is the circle with a dot in it. We're going to place it on the target as accurately as we can. When it's on the target, we are going to press and hold weapon fire. As before, the faster we are generally, the safer we're going to be. Line up a little bit better and press and hold there. Now all we've got to do is fly in a straight line. We can maintain a perfectly straight line by looking at the wings of our roll indicator here. Keep them as straight as we possibly can. You can see the DLZ counting down. When it gets down to 0, the bomb will automatically drop, assuming we are still pressing and holding weapon fire. So let's carry on. Generally speaking, we're going to fly straight and level at this case, but you can slightly dive or slightly climb. Tone is warning you that the bomb is about to drop. The bomb has now dropped. Takes a little while getting used to the CCRP method. Boom! Not bad, huh? Pretty accurate. That shows how to use the rockets, how to use bombs in CCIP mode, and bombs in CCRP mode. Let's move on to the first guided weapons. First, we have 2 variations of the AGM-65 Maverick, the H&K. We have the Brimstone laser-guided air-to-ground missile. And we have the DWS-39 INS guided bomb. Although the DWS is guided in real life, in DCS at the moment it's not guided, just by the way they have to get it to work. So, stations 2 and 7, we can have a rack of 3 Brimstones, or a single Maverick H, or a Maverick K. These are, for all intents and purposes, the same, but the K has the larger warhead. And for bombs, we've got the DWS-39 unguided cluster munition. Stations 3 and 6. We've got the same Brimstone and Mavericks, and we've got the DWS. And finally, single station 4, we can have 3 Brimstones and no Mavericks or DWS. So we're going to go up with 3 Brimstones on station 4, a pair of DWS-39 stations 3 and 6, and 2 Maverick Ks on stations 2 and 7, and a T-pod, which we will be using this time, in station 5. We're also going to introduce some new controls. So, O to turn the T-pod on or off. Right shift and O, or you can rebind it, for laser ranging. Target designator up, down, left and right to salute the T-pod. Target lock to lock and unlock the T-pod. In the air now, looking for targets. We'll go for the next set of targets, which are on the nose now. I'm going to active pause just to make this easier to explain. So, first of all, 7 for air-to-ground mode. Choose our weapon with weapon change, and we've already got the AGM-65 kilos loaded, that's fine. Next, T-pod on with O. We're now going to use the TDC slew up, down, left and right to find the target. You can see the reticle on the HUD where it's pointing to, and we're going to select a target here. Before we press target lock, very simply, we've got our current radar altitude in meters. This gauge here and this gauge here show how far the T-pod is slewed from center, and the maximum amount of slew we can have left and right and up and down. There is more to learn about this. This is actually the Russian Shkval targeting system. If you want to know more about it, I've got a full 15-minute tutorial on its use in the SU-25T playlist. So I'm going to move over to a target. I'm going to press target lock.
Launch authorized.
You can see we have LA launch authorized 3.3. That is 3.3 kilometers from us to the target. There is some otherwise overlay text here, which is buggy at the moment, but you just have to put up with it for now. You can see on the HUD, we've got station 7 selected. Launch authority is given. That is our minimum of the weapon. That is our current range, just over 3 kilometers, and our max of the weapon is up here somewhere. Press and hold weapon fire. Boom. He's dead. Let's change our weapon. Weapon change to Brimstone. We can either just slew to find a new target. We can either just slew onto a new target like that, or we can unlock by pressing target lock again. Find a new target. Relock to get the new target. Note that the Brimstone will not fire without the laser. Remember I told you to set the laser button. I'm pressing that now.
Launch authorized.
The laser ranger is now on. This doubles up as a pseudo laser designator for the lightning pod. We've now got launch authority. Check the ranges. The ranges are good. Press and hold. Boom. Good Brimstone hit. And finally the bombs. We can use this without the targeting pod. So O for targeting pod off. Next, select the weapon. Bombs. We can use these unguided method, either CCIP or CCRP. Turn the laser ranger off as well. Just realised you can overheat that laser ranger. You can see laser ranging up there. Okay, unpause. We go for CCRP drop method. And there will do. Fly on. Wait for the drop.
Launch authorized.
Watch this. Boom. Pretty cool, huh? So that is the AGM-65 variants, the Brimstones, and the DWS-39 cluster munition. Next, we're going to look at the 4 non-laser guided bombs. So they will technically be glide bombs, but they will not be gliding on wings. We will have on stations 2 and 7 bombs, GBU 32 £1,000. To get them to work in the game, they've had to turn them into TV guided glide bomb. GBU 38, these are JDAMs in real life, £500, and a GBU 49 £500 TV guided bomb. Stations 3 and 6. Bombs, GBU 31 £2,000, 32 £1,000, 38 £500, and 49 £500. And station 4, we've got 31, 32, 38, and 49. So I've armed up with all 4 types. Let's get going. In the air now, we've got a fresh set of baddies. We're slightly higher this time. It's going to be a little bit easier to drop these bombs when we're slightly higher. 7, choose the weapon, GBU 32 first of all. O, turn on the Shkval, but it paused again just for easiness to explain. Scroll down till we can find some bad guys. There we found some bad guys. We're going to need to zoom in, if I didn't show you that before. Zoom in, zoom out. Locate a target. That one there. Press target lock. One thing I didn't explain before is that you have to have a successful target track for these guided weapons to work. You can see AC in the top right there, telling us that we've got the correct track, and we'll need this track for the bomb to work. So, pretty simple. We're going to fly straight and level until our range marker here gets between Rmax and Rmin, and we're going to press and hold weapon fire and let the magic rain. Press and hold.
Launch authorized.
I think the bomb dropped. Let's go and check. Yes, it did. Speed that up. Let's fire and forget. We can turn away now. And that's going to get that guy that we wanted. Ping. Lovely. Let's go around again. This time we won't pause, and we'll go lower just to show that it gets a little bit difficult. I'm going to turn my Shkval off there. Yep. Oh, turn my laser ranger off. Didn't mean to leave that on. You can overheat it by leaving it on too long. Let's see if we can do it at this altitude, shall we? So let's get it on our nose. GBU 49 selected. Get the Shkval up. Slow it down to the bad guys, which are about there. Ground lock. Find a correct target lock. Locked on. Okay. Move to our HUD symbology. And be patient. I should say, to know that you're going left or right the correct direction, we've got this marker here that we can use with that marker there. That's going to tell us if we're splaying off to the left or off to the right. Press and hold.
Launch authorized.
Bombs away. Boom. Whichever one I locked onto. A bit more accurate, that bomb, for some reason. So that is the method of those non-laser guided bombs. Next, let's look at the laser guided bombs. We've got 3 types. On stations 2, 7, we can have GBU 12 £500 laser guided bomb, or the GBU 16 £1,000. Stations 3 and 6, we can have the GBU 12, the GBU 16, and the GBU 10 £2,000. And on station 4, we can have just the GBU-10. So we're going to take a GBU-12, a 16, and GBU-10. Okay, we're up high again because, again, these bombs will be easier to use if we are up high. Air-to-ground mode. T-pod on. Find a target. So these targets down here, note if I try to lock them with this level of zoom, I press lock there, I just get a KC, which you can see there. If that's not acceptable, I need an AC, if you remember. So I'm going to zoom in, and you can see how it's automatically snapped onto the target there, and it's acquired an AC. AC is what we want to see there. Make sure we are tracking that target. It's also going to allow us to hit the target if he's moving and we have a guided weapon. We're now going to repeat the same progress. The difficult thing about using these laser guided bombs self-designated is that we have to ensure that our Shkval tracks that target all the way until the bomb hits. Whereas the TV guided bombs, we did not need to keep tracking the target, we could turn away. So that can make it a little bit awkward, and you're going to have to use some interesting flying. So let's try and do an example here. Some pause. We're going to wait until we're in range to fire. Wait for a launch authority. Press and hold weapon fire. Drop the bomb. Bomb away. I forgot to turn the laser ranger on there. I should have, but don't worry, because if a laser ranger is required in this aircraft, it will turn it on automatically. Just remember to turn it off once you've finished with it. So now I'm going to whack my air brake on. I've got to make sure that my T-pod goes lower than 90 degrees down from my aircraft. So I have to end up following this bomb pretty much. You may find a better way of doing this, but pretty much until she hits. That is going to hit. I'm going to pull up. Boom! Got it. That's a pretty crazy way of doing it. Or you could also drop it on a friend's buddy laser. Next, anti-radiation and anti-ship. We have the MAR-1 anti-radiation missiles and the RBS-15 anti-shipping missiles. So, stations 2 and 7. Air-to-ground missiles, we've got the MAR-1 high-speed anti-radiation missiles. So think something like an AGM-88C HARM. Also, the RBS-15 Mark IV radiation-seeking anti-ship missile. And as far as I'm aware, the real RBS-15 doesn't use radiation-seeking, but at least it does in this mod. That's how they've had to get it to work. Stations 3 and 6. You've got the same two again. So I'm going to take 2 times MAR-1s and 2 times RBS-15s. As well as that, you'll need an ELINT pod. So right-click on ELINT pod, pods integrated ELINT. Airborne now. The only different control that we're going to see is ELINT pod on and off. You should have it by now. 7. Air-to-ground mode on. Select the weapon MAR-1. Let's start with the MAR-1s, and let's go and find an SA-6 SAM site. Let's turn our ELINT pod on with I. You can see the emission that the SA-6 is making there, saying it's SA-6. Using our TDC Slookies that we use for the T-pod, we can move our designator over there. Press target lock.
Launch authorized.
And that's it, ready to fire. We've got launch authorization, and we can see the actual range on the left of our dynamic. Launch scale of around 42 kilometers, and station 7 is ready to fire. So, push and hold weapon fire, and why not make it 2? They're fire and forget, so while they are traveling, we can launch our RBS-15s. Let's go and search for a ship signal. So, I'm going to unlock, target lock. I'm going to find a ship signal. It works with this mod the same through the ELINT system as an anti-radiation weapon. There we go. It's an SA-8 radar there on a ship. Lock it. Ranged it about 32 kilometers. It's not letting me fire this one, so a good example to show off this. Launch permission override. If we can't get permission to fire ourselves, we'll just force it. So press it, fire the weapons. Okay, leave myself there. Let's watch the missiles go in. MAR-1's heading in. That's some SA-6, and it's going to be a dead SA-6. So very much like the HARM. Boom. And the other ones, in they go. They actually fly like an anti-radiation missile rather than anti-ship missile, but that's how it is. There's our frigates or corvette. Thump. Big old warhead. Dead ship. So that just leaves us with the big ones, the air-launched cruise missile and the new GBU-39 SDB. The Stormshadows can be had on stations 3 and 6. They are under air-to-ground missiles there. You can have 2 of them in total. The SDBs can be had on stations 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. They are under bombs, GBU-39 SDB, which are winged glide bombs, TV guided in this DCS mod. And they come in packs of 4, giving a total of 20 that you can have, which is pretty awesome. Now, the Stormshadows will work like the RBS-15s and the MAR-1s at the moment, so you're going to need your ELINT pod. And the SDBs are going to work more TV guided, so you're going to need a FLIR, so you get your Lightning 3 targeting pod on. Okay, usual targets and usual controls. SDBs first. Air to ground, T-pod on. Find the baddies, baddies found. This time, do it without the pause, I think. And we will ground lock with target lock. Now note that I can fire these with KC, ground lock. I don't need an AC. And that may actually be the same with some of the other missiles that we've used. But note that you won't be able to track moving targets unless you get a proper AC. As it stands, this TV DLZ isn't working properly with the GBU-39 SDB. So we are going to have to press again launch permission override to fire. So I'm going to try and quick fire 16 of these off or whatever I've got. Okay, press and hold. Next target, 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 press and hold. Press and hold. That's probably enough. You can see, pretty awesome looking thing. You get the idea of how we can quick fire all these off at different targets. Relatively small warheads, 285 pounds or kilos, I've forgotten now. Oh, hey, this is also going to show us something very interesting. Look. Note how the first ones that I fired didn't make it, and that's because they don't have engines on them. They are glide bombs. So we have to make sure that we give them enough push, that we're high enough and fast enough. There's no way of actually telling at the moment. You just have to learn by trying. And oh dear, how embarrassing for me. Let's try that again, a little bit faster and a little bit closer. You can get about 40 miles out of them, but you've got to go really high and really fast. T-pod on, slew down, find the bad guys. There they are. I'm going to lock, just on a ground lock. In fact, this time I'm going to do a proper target lock, so there we go. I'm going to ground override, put the power on, and we are going to fire. 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 That's a bit better, valued viewers. Possibly the best weapon in DCS at the moment. 20 of those you can fire off in quick succession. Not bad, huh? And finally the Stormshadow. So 7. Make sure we've got Stormshadow selected. We have 2 pylons. We're going to turn our ELINT on with I. We're going to find a target to blast away. It's a ship out to sea. This is going to work ELINT style, so it needs a radar signature to lock onto, a radar emission.
Launch authorized.
And that's it. Fire. Fire 2. In terms of range, these things basically just seem to go forever. I don't know what kind of propulsion they've got. They're very clever. Quite cool looking as well. Boom! Thumping great warhead. Look at that. Anyway, that's a roundup of version 1.5 of the Gripen air-to-ground weapons and how to use them. I hope that was useful, and see you later.